When I was 25, we found out that my father had been cheating on my mother for years, and he had a 7-year-old daughter with his mistress. In one split second, the happy family I knew was gone, and I went through the darkest time in my life. My parents divorced, and per their prenup, my mother walked away with most of their assets, since she also contributed more to the family income. She never forgave my dad for what he did and never talked to him again, though she grudgingly allowed me to have whatever relationship I wanted to have with him. I eventually forgave my dad, mostly because I was tired of carrying so much anger and hurt in my heart. I talked to him, but I want nothing to do with his mistress or my half-sister. My mother died last year and left me everything: her money, her real estate assets, and her business, which I now own and operate. I am in a relatively comfortable financial position, while my dad is getting by. He was never a good businessman on his own and lost a lot of his money on businesses that later went belly up. This year my half-sister was diagnosed with a life-threatening sickness, and she has been in the hospital for the last 4 months. The bills are mounting, and my dad came to me for help because they are now in a situation where they are finding it difficult to come up with money for my half-sister's treatment. The thing is, I don't want to use my mother's money to pay for the treatment of the child her husband had with his other woman. Though it's not my half-sister's fault, it feels so unfair when I think that the money my mother worked hard all her life for will go to a child that neither my mother and I have any responsibility towards, and the very same child of the man and the woman who hurt her so much at that. I'd really rather use it to grow her company and let my dad and my half-sister's mother figure out how to get money for her treatment. They are her parents after all. The only thing tying me to her is my father saying she is your sister, and if she dies because she didn't get the treatment she needs, would you be able to sleep at night? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The money was left to you by your mother. I doubt she'd want it to be used on the child of the two people that upturned her life. Also, if it's a life-threatening illness, she could still die even if you did foot the presumably very large bills. It's understandable that your dad would ask, but to manipulate you into feeling like whatever happens now to be your fault is so messed up. It's sad, but people get sick, and the fact that it costs so much to not die is a problem, but it's not yours. Not the idiot. Your dad and the child's mother are responsible for the costs of care, not you. They could ask other family members for financial help and could pursue options through charities. My guess is that this request isn't about paying for the child's medical bills as much as it's about your father wanting to use your money to pay off his mounting debts, and those debts are his responsibility, not yours. The hospital isn't going to kick the child out and refuse care because the debts are rising. But Lord, does nobody really see the problem with using an innocent girl's life as a way to get back at your father's mistress? Instead of bending over backwards to get out of helping, just do the right thing, man. I'm sure they're not asking for all of your money, but just something to help out. You didn't like how your father and his mistress ruined your family. Break the cycle and be the better man. You're the idiot, and everyone in this thread saying you're not is also an idiot. Why do people screw so much? I am the youngest of 3 children. I'm 27 and I'm engaged, planning on getting married next summer, and then trying for a baby. We don't want to start trying for kids until we have at least a bit of money in the bank, because babies are expensive. My brother is 36. He is married with 3 kids. I'm not sure exactly how much he and his wife earn, but they own a house big enough for everyone to have their own room plus a car each, so estimating a lot. The kids are all under 10. They have some remaining debt from when they both went to college, and my brother is also trying to start his own business, but from what they've said this is all financially manageable for them. My sister is 31, the middle child, and a single mother. When she was 16 she got pregnant. She wanted to put the baby up for adoption, but our father, who was very conservative, told her that if she did anything but raise her child, he would cut her off from both the family and the will. My sister had always planned on being a mother, but never thought it would be so soon. She finished high school and worked part-time jobs until she could afford to move out. When her son was around 8 she went back to school and earned a teaching qualification and is currently in her 3rd year of teaching full-time. Her son is now 14, nearly 15. Both our parents passed within the last 5 years. In the will, Dad left me the deed to the house in the hopes I'd make it my family home. I was the sole owner. The house was in poor condition and in a poor location, so, with my siblings' permission, I put some of my own money into the house, fixed it up, and sold it for just under $230K. My siblings did not put money towards the house, only gave me permission to sell, which I felt I should ask for as we all grew up there and we all had belongings still in the house that we were able to split appropriately. My dad left my brother about 50k to start his business. Dad left my sister 1k and a letter saying she should have made better life choices. When I found out what he'd done, I immediately said to my sister that I'd split the amount I'd earned from the house between us. She tried to refuse, but I insisted. My initial plan was to split it clean down the middle between me and my sister. My reasoning was that my brother has his own money and is, by his own admission, doing well financially, and dad gave him 50k. My sister and me are both still deep in debt from paying for college, and soon her son will be going to college while I'm planning on a wedding and a baby pretty soon. When our brother found out, he was really upset and said that it wasn't fair that I got the house and made money off it, and he felt it was more unfair that I shared with our sister, but not with him. I think both my brother and father are being idiots for no reason. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Do not share that money with your brother. The house was gifted to you and you can do with it what you please. Your father sounds like the biggest idiot here, sorry to say, but your brother is running a close second. You are doing a wonderful thing by sharing with your sister who has been treated unfairly. I don't see any mention of your brother leaping to donate some of his cash to your poor hard-done-by sister. He seems pretty eager to get a cut of your inheritance though. Not the idiot. You were given the deed to the house, your brother was given a lump sum of money. Your poor sister was given an extra dose of shame that your father had been giving her for years. The house was yours and you could do with it whatever you wanted to do. You made the right choice. You're a good sister and your father is a huge idiot, may he rest in peace. Your brother is being greedy. He gets some idiot points for that, but your father takes the idiot cake. Not the idiot. It might be a good idea if your sister is still uncomfortable accepting that amount of money for you to put it in a 529 investment account for your nephew. Accounts like this can only be used for financing university education. It might be a nice leg up for your nephew to avoid debt in the future. If you really want to appease your brother, throw his 3 kids $10k each in their own 529 accounts for college. Personally, I think this would absolve you of any possible anxiety. I have 3 kids, 2 boys aged 20 and 19, and a daughter aged 24. My ex-husband is still very close with us, and we remain basically best friends. We all planned a vacation together to Cape Cod, but we sort of came to the conclusion that we shouldn't invite my daughter Laura. Laura, she can be a mean person. She is quick to anger and can be extremely demanding to others, especially aimed at her 2 brothers, and sometimes even just a night out to dinner with her can be hard to get through because of the way she acts. I just want to give a quick example. We went to my cousin's wedding and had to sleep over at my sister's house the night before. My son had a blanket on the couch and left it there while he went to go make breakfast. Laura, when she woke up, looked at the blanket, then asked him furiously, "Are you going to freaking pick this up? You're just going to freaking leave this here like some slob. Pick it the hell up at a volume that most of the people in the house could hear." My son doesn't even want to talk back to her for fear of escalating her anger, so he just did it. Another example is that my son left a pan in the sink to soak before washing it, and she flipped a crap and started calling him lazy and a brat and all this stuff. Over one pan. One time she asked my husband to do yoga and he didn't want to, and she basically started berating him for being unhealthy and making his refusal to do yoga into this big thing. One time my son was having a migraine and had to cancel going to his aunt's dinner, and Laura just absolutely berated him and insulted him for not swallowing the pain up and going. That is a microcosm of how she acts, not only to them, but to us as well, and her boyfriends and friends. If she finds even the slightest thing wrong with someone, she will point it out, viciously. She can also be funny and charming and talkative. She isn't all bad. But she seems to have a problem when it comes to not being able to keep quiet over even slight things she finds annoying. We want to have a fun vacation. But the thought of being with her for a week makes us all groan. It only takes one of her attacks at us to really dampen the mood, especially when she starts insulting people's characters and demeaning them. Me and my husband try to calm her down and tell her she's being irrational, but there's no point at all. She just aims it at us and escalates further. So we aren't telling her we're going. We're just gonna go. Are we the idiot for this? For basically abandoning our daughter to go on vacation without her? She would 100% be excited to go if we asked her, and she only lives 2 hours away from where we're going. We live in New York, she lives in Providence, but spends half her year in New York. It screws, because I do love her, but I also don't want to ruin a family vacation. I keep thinking how much fun it'll be to go with just the boys, and how awful it will be to go with her, but also how bad it is to not invite my own daughter. Everyone's the idiot here. You all for not talking to her and being ready to hide this forever, and her for being a brat. I'm not relieving you of parental blame either. Her attitude is a product of her upbringing, be it something learned or a condition that went uncared for. That out of the way, I totally understand you're not wanting to take her. Honestly, I wouldn't want to either. Vacations are meant to be peaceful and enjoyed. This is complicated, and for the reasons above I think you owe it to her. I disagree with almost everybody. There are consequences to being right all the time. If your whole family feels you will ruin a vacation, you are the idiot. She has alienated her family and she is an adult. What if her parents did her a disservice? None of her friends or colleagues have corrected her. A parent can't be everything, and every parent has failures. It's her life now, and she seems to feel like her need to berate people is more important than harmony in the family. Everyone's the idiot here. I mean, she's an adult, but at the same time, you raised her to be the way she is. You've ignored the problem and now look what's happened. You need to sit down as a family and have a civil talk about the vacation. As someone who was left out of family vacations often, I can tell you that it's going to make all your problems worse, and you'll likely lose your daughter. She's not going to understand what happened because you won't tell her. All she's going to see is that she wasn't invited to a family vacation. Myself, 28, and my girlfriend Haley, 23, have been together for 2 years, live together, and have an amazing relationship. However, we come from very different families. Her family is pretty traditional, everyone marries, settles down, then has kids. Not to say she firmly believes this is the right thing to do, though. She had a pretty freaked up childhood, if that's at all relevant. My family is extremely blended, with many divorces and teen pregnancies and kids with various partners. Haley has always gotten along really well with my family, they love her and vice versa. She has always accepted the way my family is, but something happened this morning to make me think otherwise. My cousin Jared, 23, and his girlfriend Amy, 22, just had a baby boy in September 2019. I should also add that his younger sister, my cousin Shania, 21, has 2 boys with 2 different guys. My girlfriend loves these kids dearly and spoils them. So when Jared called this morning to tell me that he and girlfriend are having another baby, I was surprised when Haley responded with a stone face and said nothing. I asked her why she didn't seem happy for them and she said, "Jared still owes your grandma thousands of dollars, right?" I said yeah. "And Amy is still waitressing. And smoking. They both smoke cigarettes," I said yeah. She just said okay and continued making breakfast. I asked her what that was supposed to mean. She got really agitated all of a sudden and snapped back with, "I'm sorry, I love your family, but sometimes their stupid freaking decisions get under my skin. I just hate seeing kids keep have kids," then went on to bring up other things about my family having lots of dogs and not training them properly and swearing in front of the kids, and how none of my cousins have proper jobs to support their kids and dump them off with grandma all the time and live in trailers. She had never expressed any of this before and I was shocked. It made it seem like she sees my family as inferior and trailer trash. I've been reflecting on the things she said and yeah, they are true. I guess I've always just seen my family as normal, because I'm the son of a teen mom myself. She approached me a couple hours later and said sorry, and that she just really believes that people shouldn't take having babies lightly, because her parents had major unsolved issues throughout her childhood, which stick with her to this day. I accepted her apology, but I still feel hurt and bitter about what she said about my family. Am I the idiot? No idiots here. I can see where she's coming from. It's easier for someone that's from outside the family to see the bigger picture. Based on your description, it is true that they don't seem to be making a lot of smart decisions, but hey, maybe there's something else that you don't know about. She could be harboring these feelings and thoughts for quite some time, and the announcement of a new addition to what she thinks is a family that isn't ideal set her off. It's no one's business but the family's, but we are all entitled to our own opinions and thoughts. No idiots here. She is an abused kid, unhappy with seeing more kids in situations of at least poverty and poor hygiene, sorry to put it that way, but when you have dogs and don't train them, that's what it is, let alone the health outcomes of having a parent who smokes. You are in the clear as well, they are your loved ones and you can feel on their behalf. Don't turn a blind eye to actual neglect if it goes there in the end though. The soft spot for family and getting angry when someone points it out is exactly how childhood neglect goes uncorrected. No idiots here. Of course, you feel defensive about your family, even if they make crappy life choices. They're your family after all. What your family does may seem normal and common, but the majority of the population is poor and uneducated, so that's not the standard to go by. Your girlfriend is right to say that your cousins are making poor decisions. Young, poor people should not be reproducing. But how can they know any better when their examples, parents, have made the same poor decisions? 28. Living alone in a high-rise apartment with my cat, Bella. My dad's sister, and Jess her husband had no children, so they treated me as their own. We were close until my family moved overseas 20 years ago. Earlier this year my dad informed me that my uncle-in-law passed away and that Jess wanted to have a vacation to deal with grief. She'd be staying in my town for a month and wanted to stay with me. I agreed. When Jess moved in, Bella rubbed on her legs. Jess swept her away, telling me that she disliked cats. The first time somebody resists Bella's charms, but whatever, not like everybody liked cats. It was a busy period, I could not take days off work, so Jess passed time on her own, sightseeing and shopping, etc. She also cleaned my place. During weekends I'd keep her company, we'd cook together and chat for hours. It would have been perfect had she not expressed how much she hated Bella. Jess frequently complained how Bella creeped her out by rubbing, jumping, and staring at her when I was out. She also complained how much I spent on Bella and the money was better off elsewhere. I would always politely explain to her that I loved Bella and was willing to spend on her. Once I came home and found the storage room open, it was usually closed to prevent Bella from entering, as had sharp and toxic things inside. Fortunately, nothing seemed touched. I asked Jess, she said she was cleaning and forgot to close the door. I suspected she did it on purpose, but brushed it off later, women her 50s, and could get careless. Then came a day I reach home to find the windows open. Unmeshed windows, 14 levels from the ground, wide open. I closed them and looked for Bella, she was sleeping under my desk. I confronted Jess and asked her what the heck. Did she not know cats could jump? Did she not see the meshes I put on windows? Those unmeshed should be closed at all times. Jess snorted and told me that she opened the windows because it was too warm. Well, I installed air cons for a purpose. This was the last straw, not going to let my cat to be at risk any longer, who knows what she would do next time when I am out. I called up my dad and asked him to have Jess leave before I kick her out myself. Dad soon invited Jess to live in his place. Dad told me later that Jess felt lonely, unwelcomed and unloved, and it was very mean of me to have treated her this way. I was sorry for not spending as much time with her as I should, but I could not have her endangering Bella's life, even after highlighting how precious she was to me. Not the idiot. No, you are not. Aside from the fact you have a life and still allowed her to come to stay with you shows you care about family and were trying to be accommodating. She cannot expect your life to just revolve around her. It was rude, despite her grief, to treat your cat that way, or imply your kitty was a waste of money and risk her as she did. She is a guest and she should respect that and everything in your home. I hope your father understands this. You did nothing wrong. Not the idiot, Christ, I don't like my son's snake, that doesn't mean I'm gonna leave the poor thing's enclosure open so he can get eaten by the cat. She's a guest in your house, all she's gotta do is leave the cat alone and basically ignore her existence if she doesn't like her. It's not like you asked her to be your cat's best friend if she feels slighted to bad for her. There's a chance she didn't leave the door open or the window specifically to hurt your cat, but even just constantly hating on your cat is rude.